picture set up there that is a placeholder. We are trying to get more fancy and also just trying to get the basics of audio and visual right. So hopefully you are here waiting for us. I'm Dr. Potter, if you don't know already, and we're going to introduce Jeremy and Aaron, our new nurse practitioners. They've been with us a few weeks. Many of you will already have met them, but would like to get them to know them a little bit more. So with that, this is going to be a little more informal. We're not going to have a definite topic. Just going to learn about what led each of us into functional medicine. And at the end, we're going to talk a little bit about our post-COVID therapy program that I want to talk about as you see some blog posts come out over July about treating post-COVID issues. So with that, we're here at Sanctuary Functional Medicine, where we care for patients who have chronic unexplained medical issues that conventional medicine has not been able to answer. I got into this because I had a family member a number of years ago come to me and basically say, you know, I've seen all these different doctors and they can't answer my questions. They just keep sending me to one specialist after another, saying labs are normal, I can't explain why you're not feeling well. With that, I helped her dig into things. 1 second.
It's really low. Some
really
people
low?
can't hear, and I'm only getting mono
All
on my
right.
side.
It's probably going to be only mono.
Okay,
So
but it's
I've
really
been told the audio is off, so I am turning it up. So hopefully in 7 seconds we'll hear, by the time you're hearing this, that it's doing better now. So we will get that report in a minute. As always, there are some audio issues. Hopefully we're getting this fine-tuned. So if anybody is still having trouble hearing, just to leave a comment so we know that that is something that you need help with. I see it better there. Good. So I'm going to continue. As I was saying, a family member brought some labs, said she couldn't get help with other specialists, and when I started digging into it, starting with MTHFR, that little methylation gene, I realized there's a whole world of medicine that conventional medicine had not taught me. And I wanted to help people, I wanted to help my family member, so I started digging. And as I did, I've uncovered more and more, and ended up finding that I could help a lot of those that prior to that point I wasn't able to help. And that was the birth of Sanctuary Functional Medicine. Sanctuary, a place where people could come and find healing from God, and where we provide those answers that they haven't gotten elsewhere. So with that though, we have grown over the years. We have moved actually several different spaces over time. We're currently, amazingly enough, in the same building, although in a different front office for the last 5 years. And we've had staff, new nursing, office managers, different people coming through and adding to the team. It's amazing how much it's grown. And in the past year, despite 2020, we had some awesome additions that are sitting here next to me. We have Aaron Dowling and Jeremy Pallett, who have joined us as nurse practitioners to come alongside me to both learn about Sanctuary Functional Medicine, how we do things, and help me care for more of you in a more effective way. So with that, we are going to hear a little bit from each of them, obviously ladies first since we are in the South, about their story, a little more about themselves, and a little bit more about how they came to functional medicine and working for this crazy doctor sitting here with you.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, but I'm a military brat, so I grew up in the military, spent a lot of time in Europe, and then decided to join the Navy after college, became a nurse, and served in that capacity in the military for 7 years. So I did a little bit of pediatric nursing, a little bit of adult medical surgical, and then ended up in labor and delivery for most of my time in the military. And as I kind of dabbled in a couple different areas, I just was a little bit disenchanted by the revolving door of patients that kept coming back into the hospital with the same problems, when it seemed as if we could address simple things like diet and lifestyle change to help prevent that from reoccurring so much. But there was just no time in the busy schedule of the hospital to address those needs, those basic fundamental needs that all people have. And so when I was living in Japan, I kind of had a lot of time spending my time on night shift, my off days looking into different types of medicine that I wanted to eventually get into, and I came across functional medicine after a number of different Netflix shows that I came across, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with all the concepts, really addressing patients holistically and the root causes, and bringing all that into their care. In the meantime, my sister was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, and I knew very little about it, but was a little bit frustrated by the lack of options she was given. It was either surgery or completely kill her thyroid, no talk of addressing her gut, her nutritional status, nothing like that. So I just had a hard time believing that those two options were the only ones out there. And so that also led me down further along on that functional medicine journey and learning, and knew that from that point on, if I was going to become a nurse practitioner, I was definitely had my sights set on practicing in functional medicine. And here I am today, so it all worked out, and I'm very, very blessed to be here.
Yes, and we're very glad to have Erin join us. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of her specific interests in functional medicine a little bit later, but we will give Jeremy a chance to tell a little bit of his story. So Jeremy, tell us about your life in medicine and how you got here sitting next to me.
Well, first of all, hello everybody. Yep, again, my name's Jeremy. So sometimes I don't really know how I got to where I am right now, but I'm glad it all happened. I grew up in Michigan. I did most of my schooling there. Didn't move down to Nashville until about 2 years ago now. But I guess I always thought about things a little bit different than I feel like my peers did. I was originally a mechanical engineering major in college, so I was never just interested in that things work, but how they work. So I guess kind of like much like everybody else here, there was a little bit of a family involvement. So my sister was diagnosed with melanoma when I was 19 years old, and it was already stage 4, a little bit too late to do much about it. So that kind of glad it all happened. I guess.
Audio hiccup here. There we go. All right, making sure things are working.
We
Sorry
back
about
on?
that. Yeah, we're on.
So anyways, she was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma. Not much they could do. So of course, I guess like anybody else, you just hop online and do as much research as you can. And I just found that a lot of the treatments for cancer, I almost felt like did more harm than good, and I just was concerned. And I came across so many stories out there. Maybe some of them weren't great. People trying things, alternative things that seemed to really benefit. So that kind of was my deep dive initially into the research. And I think it kind of tied well with my mechanical engineering background, because I feel like functional medicine is a really good blend of taking, not just looking into that things work, but how they work. And there's a lot of research behind it and finding the root cause. So, and I just, that fascinated me. So I kind of got into more of the preventative side first, ended up getting an exercise physiology degree. So I was fascinated with the human body, and it was more focused on let's do diet and exercise to prevent things. But I guess as time progressed, I just wanted to do more. And I knew from the moment I started nursing school in Michigan that I wanted to be a functional medicine nurse practitioner. That was the path I was headed down. And while I was in school at Vanderbilt, I was just looking for functional medicine clinics around Nashville, and found Sanctuary Functional Medicine. I couldn't be happier to join the team.
Well, we are glad to have Jeremy on board as well. They came in during a crazy year of 2020 that we would all, the four-letter word we would all like to forget about, but they've come in and they have just moved forward faster than I could ever hope for in terms of coming alongside me and helping me care for the patients that we already have, and then welcoming new patients in. So with that, I'm working with some audio. If you noticed, I'm experimenting with, hopefully, there we go. I've got all three of us back on the screen. So I wanted to go back to Erin again. I'm going to get her where she's not quite cut off like she was. There we go. And just tell us a little bit more. One of the things Erin and I have talked about was just she enjoys working with women and hormones. And we're talking about developing a hormone program and moving forward with helping women with fertility issues. So tell me a little bit about your interest in hormones and some of the things you've learned while you've been here with us.
Yeah, so like I alluded to earlier, I spent most of my time in labor and delivery while I was a nurse, and I fell in love with that. I love working with women. It's an area of nursing that is near and dear to my heart, and I feel that I'm just passionate about helping women optimize their health before pregnancy to ensure that they have a safe and successful pregnancy, because I think women are really the cornerstone of society, the smallest unit of society, the family. And if women are healthy, then generally that pours over into their families, and the family is healthy. And if the family's healthy, they can serve their community and their neighborhood well. And so I'm passionate about what women can bring to the table in their families and in the greater community. And so I'm looking forward to exploring more and seeing how I can help set women up for success, whether that is fertility, in the fertility realm, or just with the typical female issues, whether that's imbalanced hormones or things like PCOS or unknown causes of acne, different mood symptoms. I love the functional medicine approach to all hormonal issues, because you can't look at hormones in isolation. They really do need to be looked at as a whole and in align with all other biochemical processes in the body, all other systems of the body, including the gut being number one. And so I've learned a lot in those different things since I've been here, and hoping to learn more as I dive deeper.
Yeah, Erin's definitely been a big help with hormones. And as she said, we can and do write bioidentical hormones, but we don't want to just throw hormones in, just like we don't want to just throw in supplements while somebody has a bad diet or they have inflammation or other things that are going to actually make those things we give them not work as well. So with hormones, one of the things that Erin has been great about is helping women find the other areas where it's working with cutting out xenoestrogens, things that are disrupting your hormones, looking at, there's some nutritional issues here that means you're not metabolizing your hormones. So Erin has been great in that, and we look to her to help our hormone patients optimize their health. So Jeremy, I know you have your own interest in the metabolic world, so we have a lot of good conversations about the carnivore diet and just how to help people lower their cholesterol, lose weight, change their metabolic numbers. So tell me a little more about your interest there, Jeremy.
Yeah, so with my background in personal training and exercise physiology, that metabolic health has just been my single biggest passion. And yes, I've done a fair bit of research on all the crazy diets that people do, and some do have some pretty good utility, as crazy as they sound sometimes. So I do like to look into that a lot. But yeah, metabolic health, the health of the mitochondria are probably some of the most fascinating parts of the body to me. So I love that aspect of health, and I like getting people to lose weight, both with exercise and finding the right diet that works for them so they can lose weight a little bit easier. And I've also learned a lot here too in terms of what also contributes to making it difficult, including like things like biotoxins. So that was something I've had to wrap my brain around a little bit more. The struggle for weight loss can be extremely difficult, adding that biotoxic component. So I'm glad that I learned a little bit more about that so I can help people even more in terms of metabolic health and insulin resistance, because apparently what they're saying now is about 88% of the population has one or more factors of the metabolic syndrome now.
Yeah, it is amazing just how many patients we see, whether it's toxins, whether it is just their diet that is affecting their metabolic health. And then you throw in, again, that, I don't want to say 2020 too much around here. I'm really tired of that word, but people who were trapped in their houses, who couldn't get to the gym, who couldn't even get out of their house for general exercise, are coming back with having put on 10, 20 pounds. They've also probably did a lot of takeout food during that time, delivery, where they weren't eating as well as they might otherwise have because they were trying to take care of kids who are out of school, do their work from home, and keep their sanity. So their stress levels, cortisols were up. So we definitely are helping a lot of patients in those areas. So one of the other things I wanted to do is for us just to talk a little bit about behind the scenes at Sanctuary. So we have a lot of patients come to us and they'll see us in the exam room and they'll kind of get how we're interacting, but they won't necessarily know what we're doing behind the scenes before we go in there to a room. So I will start us off, and then Aaron and Jeremy, you can add anything you want else in there. But so when we start every morning going over our patients for the day, sometimes 2 days ahead, depends on Mondays usually work out that way. But we're reviewing those together. So they will have read through the charts, kind of get a sense for what that patient needs that we're seeing that day. Then we will discuss each one of those. I'll make sure we're covering all the bases. Sometimes we'll go back and forth and we'll check on this lab. Did they have this before? What was the last therapy? Have they followed through? Or if they had, Jeremy and Aaron maybe have portal messaged. If you have our secure portal, they may have already talked to you and said, oh, change this or change that. So they'll they'll gather that information, give that to me, we'll discuss. So by the time that they're seeing you in the office, at 9 o'clock or at 2, 3 in the afternoon, we've already discussed, we've made a plan. Now, when we go in, that plan may change. We may find out you are doing a lot better or worse, or you didn't get a chance to start that therapy, or something else happened. We have patients who have dental issues, other surgeries, things that come up that interrupt their care, and we work around that with patients. But we'll go in, talk in the morning, they'll come in, meet with you, and then if it's a 45-minute visit, they'll come out, talk with me, we'll discuss the updated information, and then go back in together and implement that, and then carry that forward for the patient, leaving a long note in your secure portal so you can go in and see what we instructed you to do. You don't have to worry about taking 1,000 notes. And then we come out and move forward with getting you better. If it's a 30-minute visit, then they will come out. You will go on home. We'll talk later in the day. If there's any adjustments, if it's more simple stuff, we'll send you a message. Oh yeah, Aaron may send you a message, talk to Dr. Potter. He does want you to start this therapy and go at 3 times a day instead of 2 times a day. So you'll have that again documented in your notes. And again, we discussed at least once, if not twice a day for patients going over things. So with that, you're getting a true team approach. And then when we need nutritional support, we refer patients over for Kira to help from a distance and do what I call the telenutrition. So that means you're getting a lot of attention from all of us. And then sometimes it may be you're seeing Aaron, but it may be because it's a carnivore diet question. Jeremy will throw his 2 cents in and help us. Oh, I've done, we'll hear a lot of, this research says about this affecting this issue. So it is great to have that team approach, and that's what I'm hoping to grow at Sanctuary over the years, is to keep our clinician team growing and growing so we have more heads put together and helping you. So anything else, we'll let ladies go first again, but anything else to add to that about what that's like?
No, I think that I would just add that we're all pretty tight as a team with the nurses as well, and so the nurses at Sanctuary Functional Medicine have a lot of experience addressing a lot of things on the portal too, but they always will bring their concerns and questions to us if they can't answer that. But our nurses are very high functioning, and they do a lot for us. So I just wanted to let you know that we talk with them and are constantly in communication with the nurses too.
Yes.
Now, and I love our team-based approach as well, and it's really nice because, as you know, we kind of deal with a lot of complex issues, so it's nice that we have 3 brains working on every patient 2 times a day, like you said, just to reiterate that point. So it's been really great. It's been a great learning environment, I think, for all of us, really, on a daily basis.
Yeah. So it's definitely fun working with these two. I've been doing this a few years. I've read a lot, but there are just endless amounts. You can't keep up with all the new things coming out. So having 2 other people who are reading, looking at hormones, looking at metabolic issues, means then I can focus on some of those things that I really enjoy, like looking at the biotoxin illness, looking now, even though yes, this refers to 2020, I am actually excited about the fact that some of the things we've been doing for mold and Lyme actually are going to help patients with post-COVID syndrome, the long haulers. So it is nice to see how all these are fitting together. And again, just I'll reiterate what Erin said, is having a team with the nurses, with our staff who all care about the patients, who are all trying to show the compassion, show excellence, and do that in a team-based setting. It makes this a fun job. It makes this something where I'm excited about not just what we can do for you now, but every few months we are learning. There's no end to what functional medicine, what we need to learn, because we're keeping up on the cutting edge. So that means we're not just depending on what was developed in some research lab or 17 years ago, which is the average time it takes for research to get from the lab to a clinic. We are trying to use research, now with, again, 2020, we are using research that's coming out literally in the last few weeks. They're tying biotoxins like mold and Lyme to having similar reactions to the spike protein from COVID. So that's fun. I enjoy that. I'm one of those crazy people who, like Jeremy, likes that research. And Erin's doing her hormone conferences, and we like to do those things because we know the more that we learn, the more we're able to help those out there who are suffering and can't get answers. So we'll go back to a personal, just to kind of, so everybody gets to know who we are. What are some hobbies you like to do outside of this time when we're discussing patients and seeing patients? What do you do when you're outside of the sanctuary world?
Yeah, well, I kind of got into hot yoga after graduating college, and I'm learning more and more how beneficial that is, and so I'm kind of pleased that I got on that bandwagon because it's really fun and enjoyable, but I know that all the sweat that goes on is and the heating up the body is so good for detox, so I enjoy that. I really enjoy cooking as well. That's kind of my creative outlet. I'm always into a new recipe, and I love trying new things in the kitchen, experimenting with different recipes, get a lot of enjoyment out of that. So I do that, and I love being outside. I love hiking, going on bike rides. Tennessee and Nashville in general has so many amazing hiking areas, and just means to be outside, and so I like to take advantage of that when I can.
Yeah, definitely, especially when spring is lasted into July in Tennessee. For those of you who may have moved here in the last year, our Julys are usually not this perfect, so sorry, don't get too used to it. It's normally a little hotter, a little more humid, but we'll take it. It has been great this year. So Jeremy, tell us a little bit more about some things you like to do when you're not taking care of patients or reading about carnivore diets.
That's all I do. That's all I do. Now, as you might have guessed, I do like to work out as well. So, but I'm one of those people who does get bored pretty quick, like most people would work out. So I do like to change things up. So it kind of helps that I have experimented in so many different things, so I can bring that to patients' attention as well. So I like that. But yeah, working out I like to do a lot. I used to play piano. It's kind of more of just a hobby now. I'm not great at it, but I like to dabble around on that, and kind of like Erin, I like to spend a lot of time outside, hiking, traveling with my wife, and home projects, I guess, can be fun sometimes.
Yes, sometimes. Yes. So with that, you got to know a little bit more about the Sanctuary team today. I'll probably bring some of our nurses, new nurses that have joined us in the last year or two, back around for some of these in the future, so just so you get to know everybody. But this is something that we want you to know that we're real people. We care about you, we care about helping you. We are, yes, putting a lot of time reading a lot into things, all of us, for different topics, but we're also out there trying to enjoy the unusual July weather, and also bring those things, whether it's exercise, whether it's cooking interest, into that, so we can help people understand how you can live your life with a healthier, more abundant life with chronic illness, and overcoming it rather than being stuck in that. So there are a lot of things out there we can help you with, and one of those as I promised, we'd talk just a little bit about post-COVID long hauler syndrome. I just want to take a moment. So we are seeing a few more patients. We have seen a few come in that we were already, those were already patients, that they did get COVID. They got through it, but then they started having some lingering symptoms, especially some of our mold patients, mold toxic patients, and then realizing some of those same therapies we use to get them out of the mold actually are very helpful in helping them recover, whether it's their thyroid affected, fatigue, palpitations, lightheadedness on standing. There's a long list of symptoms that my blog posts are going to go through all the different systems this month. But if you look at that, for those of us doing biotox and mold and Lyme disease, it's like, oh, those are exactly all the same symptoms we see in those patients are the ones that post-COVID patients are having. And with that, we are applying those same therapies and then adding a few more as we're learning from science, not just in the United States, but across the world where different people, different doctor groups are applying different therapies that some of those words that like ivermectin that we're not supposed to talk about, but are actually seeing not only acute COVID patients improve, but some of the long haulers. So with that, we are starting to treat those who have been prolonged suffering. You know, technically it's 12 weeks, but you know, we're not going to wait till 12 weeks to say, oh well, you know, it's been only 11 weeks, we don't want to treat you yet. Now, we're going to assume if you've had COVID, we're going to even start before you're done with your acute disease, trying to help you overcome that and prepare your body so you don't come up with 4, 8, 12, 16, or even they're saying in some cases 6 months worth of symptoms. We're going to start that as soon as possible to prevent long haulers, but if you had COVID, still having ongoing symptoms, we're going to be looking at applying those principles, those protocols to help those new patients who haven't been seeing us before overcome that. And also, yes, that post-V word, we'll not get into that just in case anybody's listening. We're seeing some patients who have some reactions to those experimental therapies that are supposed to prevent COVID. And we're applying those same things because the same principles apply, the same labs apply, and the same therapies. So we look forward to helping those significant numbers of people who are having those post-COVID therapy, post-COVID symptoms, long hauler as it's called. All right, I think we had a hiccup there. I'm not sure what I did, but apparently my computer didn't like it. So hopefully you're still with us. But if you have any questions, leave them on the comments, and we can try to answer those. I know there's about a 6 or 7 second delay from when I say this and when you actually hear me, so that's why you'll hear me then kind of mumble along and talk about other things. Anybody have questions? We're waiting. Jeremy and Aaron are thinking this is seeming like forever, but I'm used to these waiting because sometimes I will get ready to close things up and suddenly 3 people all have questions at the same time, so I want to make sure that everybody has a chance. And obviously this will also be out there later, so if you leave questions later or if you're watching it, or you feel free to share it with others. So right now I'm not seeing any questions, so I think we probably will wrap things up. I have some patients this afternoon, or Jeremy and Aaron have patients this afternoon as I do some admin work, doing different things to keep the clinic running behind the scenes. But thank you for joining us. We enjoy this time. I know I had fun. Hopefully Aaron and Jeremy were not too traumatized by my interview questions, but we look forward to talking a little more. I'm expecting we'll be talking about that other word we don't want to hear, COVID, next month. But let me think just so I can tell you exactly when that date is, so you can mark it on your schedule. We are looking at August the 12th, appears to be the next Facebook Live. If there's something different, we'll let you know, but look for us at noon on August 12th, possibly talking about a little more long hauler post-COVID therapy. So look forward to seeing you then. Until then, have a blessed week, day, week, and month. Bye-bye.